Welcome to the Vermont Dog Trainer Show, your common sense, down-to-earth advisor on all things dog training. Here's your host, Ian Grant.
All right. Fill me in. Tell me what's going on with the river.
Honestly, my family came on Wednesday and they left yesterday. So we had, I was debating even maybe just coming Thursday, but I thought I'd just hop on here.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. And when everyone's here, because there's 10 people in our house, usually with 2 to 3 dogs, he just is like overwhelmed.
Everything is heightened, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just. So
does he know these other dogs that came to stay with you?
Yeah. I mean, he's known them since he was a puppy. So
okay.
There's only one other. Yeah. And they get along. I actually recorded them. Maybe I'll post them.
Oh, please do. Oh my gosh. That would be amazing if you could post that in the group. Yeah.
I wish my other sister's dog came because they play, but that's the one who kind of, I think she snaps at him because they always get in a fight. But this other one, he's a little older. I think he's turning 9.
Okay.
And so River loves to play with him. And I know he likes to play with River too, but I think he was just like telling River, like, enough, like, I'm tired, like, leave me alone. But I just wanted to post so you could just see it anyway.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Please do.
Yeah. And like River he just gets, yeah.
Did he get overwhelmed in a way where he just didn't know what to do? Or was it overwhelmed in a way where everything was just so exciting?
Probably both, because I know he really likes my family, like especially he seems to be like a guy's guy. Like he's always by my brother-in-law. He likes to be, although I mean, he really likes my family in general.
Okay.
And I just think it's all the noises. He's not used to so many noises. I have a 5-year-old niece who's, not, I wouldn't say a screamer, but she just is loud, very, very loud. And then her and her brother play and they just get extremely loud. And so any noise he's barking at. So it doesn't matter. He knows, like, let's say my sister's walking up to the door and they've been here for a few days and she's walking up to the door. He'll just completely just go crazy barking at her. And I'm like,
is this an excited bark or is this a like, excuse me, get the heck out of my house bark?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Maybe I should have recorded it, but
so I'm guessing you were a little overwhelmed with it too, right?
I'm overwhelmed when my family comes. Yes.
Okay. Minus the dogs, right?
I'm overwhelmed. Yes, very. And even when I would go, like I would try to have, River like away from them and it was raining too, so it wasn't.
Oh, so you couldn't even get out that much.
Yeah. So I would like bring River up in our room. And even when I was up there, just trying to relax, I could still hear them, even though I had my earbuds in.
Jeez.
No. So it's yeah. And it's not like we're in this tiny itty bitty house, but I mean, it's not, gigantic. So anyways,
well, let me ask you this question then, because obviously we can't do anything about what has happened.
Yeah.
But what would you do differently next time if it was if the whole thing was to replay itself over again? What do you think? What adjustment could you make? And the reason I ask that is because, I mean, I do this after my lessons. I just kind of, I jump in my truck, drive for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, is there something I could have done a little bit better? Or I should have said this, or, just something that, because I'm always trying to just keep improving a little, a little bit every time. So knowing that, and to Christy, I'm not asking you to change like everything, every minute, every day.
No.
Just pick one thing. What do you feel like you could have, or that you'd like to adjust next time?
I don't. Maybe gotten out with him more, like by ourselves.
Okay.
I don't know, because like the biggest thing is, and like he's relatively quiet, like he does have his moments barking. We know that, we've talked about it, and he's not like an all day barker, but when they're here, he's almost at everything. Someone could like close a door too hard. Someone's phone could ding. Someone could make any type of noise a normal noise and he just
Yeah.
is barking. Yeah. So
Super
I,
sensitive.
yeah, right. And so
Yeah.
that's, and then, my family, I tell them, I'm like, he's not like this all the time. And I just, for that itself, because that was like the big thing, I don't know what I would do. I guess I would get him out more by himself.
Yeah.
Other than that, I honestly, I have no idea.
So to me, I mean, obviously the exercise is going to help. Um, if you have a chance, I would up it the day before everybody arrives,
Mhm.
just to get out maybe a little extra XX energy. Um, Something that you may want to consider in the future is to honestly tether him to you for just a little bit, not a lot,
Okay.
like maybe like a half an hour to
Mhm.
where you have immediate access to just slow him down. You can think of it like he's just, hits a stop sign over and over and over and over again, something along those lines. Um, because you could break down the 3 or 4 or 5 days or however long it was and go, oh my gosh, there's so much that I could redo here. But you also don't have the chance to practice that every day either,
Yeah.
right? Probably
Hmm.
thankfully in your case, you don't have
Hmm.
family that lives with you like that. So I would just pick something out of it, Christy, where you're like, just need to slow him down a little bit. He's super sensitive. And to me, I think he probably needs a little guidance. Family and dogs bring a lot of energy into the house, and if he's sensitive, he's going to be sensitive to that energy. Much like when we have a dog barking next to us or whining, we soak in that energy, right? And it kind of becomes us. And so the same thing happens for dogs too. So it's like all that energy becomes him. And then he's like, I don't know what to do. And they can just get, I don't want to say frantic, but almost chaotic in their brain.
Yeah.
So limiting his physical movements to start with, or just moving around with you, or even as simple as you going and sitting down, maybe as you're visiting with one of the family members and he's on leash and he's sitting down next to you, just to give him that
Hmm.
extra guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
all.
Because I know usually like after dinner we sit down and he relaxes, but like, my family, my sisters and, we'll be playing card games at night or, and he's
Yeah.
laying down next to us, but he's just like, I think he's just like, enough. Like, I just want to lay down for a little bit. And that's the one thing he won't do. Like, it's rare, and especially when everyone's here, that he'll go down by himself and sit down and like lay down. He won't do that. If my brother-in-law was sitting on the couch, he'll definitely go over there and lay next to him and rest.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's not something he would do. So he's just probably I think he's
Yeah.
yeah, just overly excited and overly
I mean, you can also create a routine for him too, where it's a certain time, a couple of weeks leading up to this, it's a certain time of day where he gets time completely to himself, so
Mhm.
whether it's upstairs in your room or I can't remember, was he crate trained or no?
Yeah, he was, and then
Oh,
they took
because of
the
the whole
crate
thing
away.
that had
Yeah, yeah,
happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Way back. Yeah. 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 So I would refresh that then, because
Okay.
then you could have him in a crate, maybe just in your room while the family's there for a few days. And that gives him a place to just go and recuperate,
Hmm.
because dogs can get so fried that they almost become belligerent. And it just seems like the energy never goes away.
Hmm.
It's like, it's like a toddler that doesn't get a nap. It's easier to negotiate with terrorists than it is to deal with a toddler that's tired,
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
how I would approach it, I think,
Okay.
if that
Yeah,
helps.
it doesn't happen a lot. And before it was our house, it was my family's lake house. And so, they're used to coming up every so often. They've been coming up
Yeah.
more. So yeah, it's been a lot lately. They usually don't come up this much. So, but it's
Yeah.
good. I mean, I think it's good to know these things and, obviously talk to you about it. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Another one of those real world things that happens where you're like, you didn't think the course is going to help you with that kind of thing, right? Like
No,
be able
and
to discuss it.
yeah, yeah. And like, you gave me the follow through stuff and I was just like, I didn't do anything this week. Like it was just crazy. So
You also had other priorities too,
yeah, yeah.
entertaining and hosting. Yeah, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. All
That
right.
sounds good though. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Colleen, on to you.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Hey, good. I got my week 10 email today. So I was like, wow, I can't believe this is week 10. That's wild.
Yeah.
Which is health and nutrition. Danny
Yep.
is on like lots of special food and supplements for her arthritis.
Yep. Yep.
But we missed last week, but we're still ongoing, working on the barking issues, doing the same stuff. I think, every day just being consistent and making a little bit of progress is
Yep.
good.
Yep. I think
I'm
too
still
often we look
doing,
for the flip of the switch during those times.
yeah,
You,
I
you
don't think
know,
it's going to be yeah.
no, it takes time.
But she seems to know, like when she's like alerted to something, she's not like running and jumping to something. She's just kind of giving a boof unless it
Ah,
really irritates her, but that's happening less frequently. So
okay.
I feel like that's good. We're also not letting her bark if she's on the couch or on the bed.
Yep. Good. So
Um,
you saw a change in her like physical demeanor and her vocalness, I guess. Um, right? So that's a big
yeah,
deal.
it's been a big deal. Yeah, I think it's been really good. I'm still walking laps with her with the slip leash because I'm still so freaking terrible at it. Tanner does the full walks with the slip leash, but I'm
Okay.
still doing just like the back and forth on the small road next to our house.
Okay.
And then
Well, why do you feel
we've
like
been
you're
doing.
terrible at it?
I still feel awkward doing it. The leash is like coming down her neck as I'm walking, so I'm constantly having to stop and adjust. And
Okay.
um, yeah, I feel like I'm still trying to get used to it.
Okay. Are you confident in it or no when you grab a hold of it?
Not really, not yet.
Okay. All right. So that's a part of it. What would make you
Yep.
feel what would make you feel comfortable when it came to her leash handling?
I think continued repetition and just continued work with it. And Tanner walks her more than I do because of my work
Okay.
schedule.
Okay.
So
So
I
you
think
also
he's,
don't get that opportunity either.
yeah, it's usually Tanner, the one that's walking her because I work late.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So when it's me, I'm still just doing the laps back and forth.
Yeah.
But usually after like a couple, and then I watched that video with that dog that totally reminded me of Danny on your leash handling class. It reminded me I just need to like, just be okay with where I'm at and just continue
Yeah.
to be okay with just her walking in a straight line.
Yeah.
Because she behaves exactly like that dog in that video.
Yeah. So something that I would like you to do you guys ever take walks together?
Yes.
Okay. What I would like you to do then is have Tanner start the walk, go until he feels like she's in a good rhythm. Okay. So Danny's in between the two of you.
Okay.
Okay. And when he feels like that she's in a good rhythm, mid walk, I just want him to hand you the leash and you keep moving.
Okay.
Don't worry about it being like picture perfect setup at that point. Meaning the collar, right? Or the leash.
Yep.
But I want you to take it for about like 30 seconds and give it back to him. He's going to go another minute and make sure she's rolling along and then give you the leash and let you roll with it for another 30 seconds or a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll probably be interesting for her too.
Yes, for the both of you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to have you doing it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I want you to feel like when you get that flow, so that you understand what it's supposed to look like and really feel like more than anything, so that you understand that, and then you go, okay, this is my goal. So I know if I achieve this, then I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I think probably partially in a way you feel like you're running a race that you can't see the finish line.
Right.
Yeah. So by
And
you
I'm
doing that, I
constantly
want you to
trying
feel that finish line.
Okay. I'm constantly trying to figure out like I'm just still not very good at it. But that would be a really good way to practice because he's like really good at it. He like has it down pat. But
Yeah.
he's been doing it since you were at our house, and that was a few months ago.
Yeah. So here's the thing too, Colleen, is I think that you're approaching this too intellectually
Totally.
and not enough instinctually.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I want you to feel that like flow when things are going great and he just hands you the leash. That's that's what I want you to experience, that instinctual time. Not the, is the leash right? Is my hand right? Am I walking fast enough? Is she in the right position? Is the leash going down? Right? All those things that just barrel into our head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 100% right. I overthink everything. That's like,
Well, I think that's human nature. I think
who I am.
yeah, I get it. I get it. For sure.
I think when you were watching, when you were here, you were watching me walk. You asked me if I was an engineer or something.
Yeah. 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 I remember helping. I was helping a couple one time, and the wife grabbed the leash and walked the dog, and it was like smooth, right?
Yeah.
And everything was great. And then it was the husband's turn, and he was like stiff and rigid, and hand was clenched, literally sucking the life out of the leash. And he turned around and came back to me, and I said, I have to know. I said, what do you do for a living? And he goes,
Yeah.
I'm an engineer. And I went, well, that figures. And he looks at me and he goes, bite me.
That must be why you thought that when you saw me. Like, what is wrong with this woman?
You're probably a little, again, but that's the thing. Like, I just had a lesson with a guy last week, and he was telling me about, he can do a lap around a building at his work site, and he knows exactly how many steps. It was over like 1,000 steps. And I'm like, wait, you know that number? You're counting that number? So in his brain, it's very intellectual, rather than just experiencing that walk. So yeah. We all have our things.
So I did have another question, but I can wait until the next round.
Well, I don't feel like you asked a question. You asked one, so go ahead.
Yeah. So then we're doing obstacles, which was kind of fun and awkward, but it was a good time. And then doing more of those treat exercises, which she really enjoys, but she gets incredibly excited when the treats come out. Okay. It's not really my question. Maybe that should be my question, actually. I
like how, see, this is where the intellectual part of you, I like where this comes out. Right? It's good.
So I'm going to go with this treat exercise question. And then if I have time, I'll ask this other. So the goal really, like we had talked about the last time we were on the call, is trying to get her sniffer more activated. And so we're doing we're hiding treats in different parts of the house. So we have the kitchen, we get the treat bag out. One of us will have her sit, the other one will hide the treats. And she is just like, I don't even know how to explain how just overly excited she is. Like her eyeballs are huge, her tail is wagging. She's like, and she has a really hard time sitting still. Before we release her to go find the treat, because she's just so excited to get a treat because it's rare. So I guess in thinking about state of mind, what would be the optimal? Is that okay if we're doing the sniffer exercise, or should we have her in a really just totally calm, relaxed state?
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. When you take her for a walk, do we want her in an active state mentally or in a passive state mentally?
I think more passive.
Correct.
I thought I was going to get an F for the class.
Nope. Nope. You get to stay on the call now. That's great.
Okay, cool.
But here's the thing. When we start to plant food and try to get their nose triggered, in my opinion, the dog's going to tend to be more active. Right. So I don't need a complete relax, surrender, because I'm going to trigger your nose. I'm sending you out to go do something. Right. Even if it's in the house or if it was in your yard. Telling her I'm going to send you out to go search for something. So she's going to have to be active. This is just like police, scent dogs. They have to be active. I don't expect a dog to walk out there like they're the biggest couch potato and just kind of saunter around. Like if there's food and the dog's food motivated, you're going to see an active state of mind.
Okay.
And honestly, if you can start to communicate with her with an active state of mind, that helps because now you guys are talking while she's a little amped up, right? You're making her sit, you're making her wait, then you release her to send her to go. You celebrate with her, and then you wait a minute or two, and then you reset everything, right? And then so you're working on your obedience, but you guys are starting to talk at a different level. Not obviously yelling, but she's amped, but she still has to pay attention to you. So it's a good way to
I love
start
that.
to yeah, it's a good way to start communicating that way. I don't think we do enough as far as teaching our dogs how to communicate with us while they're very excited,
Okay.
and that's where I think the play part comes in to help us out with that kind of thing.
Okay. I love that. That's actually really good advice. So, because we actually do need to communicate with her better when she's in that really active state, because
Yeah.
I feel like she's in that place pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
when they're active that way, let's say her brain's moving forward and she's barking at something at the window. I at least want her to be aware of me to where if I go, hey, right, or whatever the sound is, I want her to go, huh, and look over at me, and then I can give her direction, right?
Yep.
And then I can bring her back down to a little bit more chill, and you don't have to hang out at the window. But when we're playing this scent game, let's have a blast.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked that question then.
Yeah, great question. I don't think I've actually answered that one on here before, so that's good.
I got an A today. Awesome.
Yes, you did. And you get to stay on the call.
And I'm on the call.
Yeah, the questions today are based totally on if it's a good question, you get to stay on. If it's a bad question, I'm just going to get rid of you.
Oh my gosh. Beware, everybody.
Yeah.
Shit's getting real.
Yeah, that it is. All right, Janet, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Great. I was going to say, wow, the pressure's on. I might just
Yes.
say.
I'm on a bender right now.
Okay, I have a specific question for today. Things are going along fine with the dogs. We've been probably only home about 30% of the time, so consistency
Okay.
on has just been a
Sure.
little off the rails. But I've got Bam Bam in a cone because she has something on her paw that we're trying
Oh,
to get.
no.
So I don't remember ever talking about that in the calls that I've been on through the course. She seems to be doing fine in the cone. I suspect she's had one on before because I've had dogs that just flipped right out with a cone.
Sure.
But what kinds of things should I be aware of? Like I'm thinking that it's the hard plastic
Yeah.
cone.
Oh, yeah. I know it all too well.
Or anything like that. But I'm just thinking of things like sound is amplified.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of things should I think about? As I say, she's doing okay. She sleeps in it. I keep her in it overnight. I take
Yep.
her off for walks. I take her off it if we're playing in the yard.
Great.
Or if she's sitting with me on the couch. Like if I'm there and I can keep an eye on her, I'll have it off. But there have been a couple times where like I just get distracted by something and she's back at it. So the cone goes back on. But if you have any
Yeah.
tips on just better management of cones.
I mean, to me, their spatial awareness is shot as soon as you put that on. Fitz, my golden, was, oh my gosh, he was running into anything and everything after I got him neutered and he had to put the cone on. Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. Every doorway, every wall, every corner was hammered into, honestly, I was going to say the same, what you said, as far as, making sure that you don't change up the routine, because I think that's a big change for a dog. Their vision is different as well. So when you interfere with the vision and everything else, and then you change the routine on top of it, I think that's when you can get that snowball effect that causes shifts in their energy, I mean, honestly, Janet, I think everything that you mentioned so far is what I was going to say, which is status quo, right? Keep the same routine, do the same thing, so that it literally turns into just how we put a shirt on every day. It's just a different shirt. It doesn't mean we're going to change our day completely. It's just different. And so same thing for the dog. I just want it to be as consistent as possible. That's all. How do you feel like her body language has been while she's had it on? Has that been a shift?
No, I can tell when she's just got some energy she needs to burn, because then she is just hitting into everything, including me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, no. And she sleeps a lot. So she's just, flaked out with the cone on. And
Yeah. So how much longer does she need to wear it for?
I'm not sure. I'm going to check in with the vet again at the end of the week. She just got it like late on Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just kind of monitoring how the little bump is doing and getting back to them. I
Yeah.
may need to have them go to boarding on Friday for a couple of days.
Okay.
Any thoughts on, my thought is, while they're in play group, take the cone off, and when she's in her area, cone back on.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. As soon as you said play group, I just remember all the dogs that would come in after or whatever with the cone on. Some dogs get super freaked out by the cone and they literally run to the corner of the room, depending on their sensitivity. Other dogs will be curious.
With the cone on, or the other
No,
dogs?
the other dogs.
The other dogs, yeah.
Because it's not normal in that environment, maybe. So that's the first thing. The other thing is getting in and out of a kennel with that on, depending on, how big they are or how small they are, the kennels. So that can have something to do with it, her as well. But I would honestly have them try to, once she gets in. Well, let me ask you this. What has her MO kind of been while she's there? Does she end up playing or socializing at all? Or does she just kind of chill?
She does. And they have kind of structured, not structured, but scheduled play time. So she goes out with the group and plays, and then comes back in, and then another outing with another group.
Yeah.
So in my mind, with that, you could take it off while she's out. Like when she's out being active and a thing, she's not laying down and getting bored.
Right. And that's my thought too, is if she can be focused on playing and not so much licking her paw or whatever, then by all means, take that thing off and let her enjoy herself. And then the downtimes, it's got to go back on. That's all.
Yeah.
So is it on top of her paw or underneath?
It's on top.
Okay.
Kind of on the corner of her ring finger. Jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, is it just a hot spot? What'd they say?
So he kind of said, if it keeps growing, bring her back. We might be dealing with a tumor or a toe amputation. And if it gets smaller and smaller, then it could be a bite or just something else.
Holy cow. That's a humongous difference.
Well, it's a big range, and
we're either going to have to take her foot off or it's a bug bite, one or the other.
Well, just her toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Is she limping?
She's not limping at all. It's like she's not doing anything. And I didn't notice it because there's fur over it until it was bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, wow, there's more than blood here. There's a big bump there. So
yeah. Okay.
But
I would send her with those instructions of like, if she can stay busy and not lick it, then so be it, Yeah.
And I just figured the cone, in her case, the cone is better than a boot.
Oh yeah. The boots can be, depending on the dog, will completely change how they walk and how they be. And
And she'll chew it out. Like in the night, I feel much more confident. I wouldn't be worried in the night with a cone on than a boot.
Yep. No, I think you made the right decision.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Tiffiany, you're up. And hi, Tali.
Good day, everybody. My morning, your afternoon.
It is your morning too. I forgot about that. Yes, it is. Yep.
Thank you for having the space. So I'm coming on to tell on myself, I think, again.
Okay. No judgment here.
So last night, we're still having issues, Bader and Mia. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's just traumatic for me.
Okay.
So last night, I tethered Bader to the front door handle. And then I just, for 30 minutes, walked around with Mia on a leash the entire time and just in front of Bader. It took her a good 25 minutes to settle down.
Wow.
She'd settled down for a while, but then she was right back at it. So I knew she wasn't at her calm place for quite some time.
Okay.
And then we proceeded to brush I brushed each one of them and moved on. But today has been a fairly good day.
Okay.
I mean, as soon as they get off the bed, both of them, they sleep with me. There's no problem. None. And then as soon as they get off the bed, Bader wants to play. Mia has no part in it. And so it's like separation. And that's really what I'm trying to avoid is I want them to live in the house.
Yeah. You don't want to create
exclusively.
separation.
Right. And that may be contributing to some of the reason why we keep revisiting this. Maybe this is a question, but I'm working during the day. And if I can't keep my eye on Bader and Mia, and it's not so much even keeping my eye on them because she's fast, Bader is, and she will in 5 seconds be on top of Mia. So
yeah.
But it's different than I mean, I told you we went to the Balloon Fest last weekend. We went to the farmer's market. We sat there. She let dogs sniff her, and like there was no reactivity at all. So Mia is small, and I guess she just figures her to be a toy. I don't know. I don't know.
And she just figures what?
Mia to be a toy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So, and how old's Bader now?
She's 4 months.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, are you crate training her through the day or crating her?
Yes. 2 to 3 times a day.
And for like how long each time? Like half hour?
It varies. It's usually at least a half an hour.
Okay.
Sometimes it's been as many as 2 hours if I go out of the house for a while.
Yeah. And then, so the times that she's out of the crate are usually the times that you're active with her, right? Or she's active with Mia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, and you're right at about 2 hours a day, roughly. Is what you're thinking total time between when you wake up and when you go to bed that she spends in the crate?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You thinking it's less or more, or you think that's accurate?
No, I think that's pretty average. I had to make certain I was giving you a correct answer, but yes, I think that's about average.
I mean, depending on her, I mean, I feel like this is a one way or the other kind of thing. Do you feel like she's energy level wise? Where do you think she's at?
She's high energy.
So here's the thing.
Train her, but
yeah, here's the thing. Most of the time when I hear people say high energy and you have a puppy, and I'm not in your house, so I'm not seeing her romp around everywhere. Part of me feels like she's not getting enough rest. Okay.
This is a true statement. I have been very concerned about that. I move, she moves. And so she can, and even she's still not great in the crate. My mom's there. I may need to move the crate at times because my mom, it's in the same room where my mom is and where Mia is. So she may be stimulated while she's in the crate.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that.
I just want to explain to everybody too, this can start a slippery slope. It doesn't matter if, like in this situation, Bader's 4 months old or if your dog is 4 years old. If we diagnose them as high energy when they're truly not, we will make them high energy because you will continue to provide them exercise over and over and over again throughout the day. And then you will start to change your lifestyle because you feel like your dog is high energy. Now, what everybody is not realizing is that by doing this over time, you're actually creating stamina, which is creating a high energy dog. You see what I mean?
Yes, this has been a problem since the day I brought her home that I realized in reflection. So I'm like, and I think some of this comes from I've told you, I was very concerned about having a bigger dog. So mentally, I have prepared myself for this high energy dog all along. What do I need to do? How do I change my life? Like all those things. And even to the point of when I've asked plenty of people, how often do you exercise your dog? And they're like, oh, 4 hours a week. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so much less than what I was envisioning. So I think that there may be some real truth there to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to use the word may. I think that that's a very truthful statement, Ian. Congratulations.
Thanks. I think too, the same can be said about dogs that are anxious. You know, the ones that are always like, you know, they're panting and they won't stop. We look at those dogs as like, that dog's got to go, right? It's got a lot of energy. Well, even a high energy dog can be anxious, you know, and we can still create more anxiety because we built up the stamina in that dog to now be a high energy and anxious dog. You know, anxious dogs don't know how to chill out. So, and you know, I don't feel like we have anxiety here with this group in here right now, but so yeah, so this is what I would say, Tiffany. So today's Tuesday. I would say, try creating some set times where you're like, okay, this is the set time that she's going into the crate in the morning and for a set amount of time. And then when you're freer, you can do things with her and she can play with Mia and all that kind of stuff. And then in the afternoon, this is the set time that she goes into the crate for the set amount of time. So
great.
I would say try that for a few days. If you run into any huge snags, then just post in the group and let me know what's going on. But if I don't hear anything, if you don't write anything, then like by Friday or Saturday, write something in there so I can kind of see which way you're trending, you know, but rest is super important. There's something about, it's been a while, but I think they say puppies need anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day of rest.
We are not getting that.
Yeah. So,
I mean, she's probably getting about.
But I mean, again, that also depends on the dog as well, right? I mean, you can't just classify it and say all dogs need 18 hours, all puppies. It just depends on the dog. So that's where we have to navigate our way through this. That's all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Tali. How's that sleeping through the night streak going?
Still going strong.
Nice.
So that has been very good.
Yeah.
That's been excellent. And, she's better than my alarm clock because I'll get up, between 4:30 and 5, like we both get up, I take her out, but I've still been tired. So I've fallen back asleep, but by like right around 7, because she knows she gets fed between 7 and 7:30, she will be on me, pawing me, batting me, like not hurting me. And she'll start pulling my hair until she'll be like, look, it's time. You need to get up. You need to get up. And so there is no snooze with that, which has actually been a positive for me. She doesn't do that any other time. It's just, I think she knows that I have to be up, like really have to be up.
Okay. So we got to hit on this for a second. So she goes through that activity routine. You get up, you take her out to go to the bathroom, right? I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
You come back inside. What do you do with her right then and there?
When we come back inside the second time, like at 7-ish, usually I'm feeding her at that point.
Yeah, right, bingo. So stop right there. This is the common story that happens with dogs that get fed first in the morning before their activity. Is that they wake up their owner, they go out to the bathroom, and then they have breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a simple 3-step process that a dog has learned to say, I'm supposed to get food now. This is the process. This is how I put 2 and 2 and 2 together in order to get the food in front of me. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
you're saying that's bad?
It's not great.
I mean, she doesn't do it before like dinner time. Like
no, because But let me ask you this question. And now look, she's not the kind of dog that's like super pushy and controlling and, the whole thing. So for those that listen to this, we have to pay attention closely. We don't want to start our day out by our dog dictating our movements. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's getting rewarded for dictating the day, the start of the day. If you think about how powerful that is, then we kind of look at it and go, so that's a big decision that she's making.
But so like normally I would get up, right? Like when I'm staying on routine, which is more often than not, like
Sure.
I get up, take her out at 5-ish, and then I come back, I leave, I do my workouts, I come back, and it's usually around 7.
Okay.
So that's like, if I don't leave and come back around 7, then that's when I would take her out again before I would feed her. It seems like I've tried feeding her before taking her out around 7, and that doesn't seem to work. She won't eat her food until she goes out because she has to go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom. Sure. Yeah. I get it. That's more valuable.
Yeah. So you're saying that I have to do a different activity with her before feeding her?
When do you take her for your walk?
Which walk? Remember, we go on a lot of walks.
Like after you work out, you've gotten up and you've done your thing in the morning where like
it's usually around that 7 o'clock time frame.
Right. And so that how long of a walk is that you take with her roughly?
It could be 20 to 30 minutes. It just kind of depends on her. I know right now she is ruling the walk still. Like, I mean.
Okay. But I'm not, we're not going to address that part of it right now though.
Yeah. So usually, I mean, it's never less than 15 minutes, but sometimes it's as long as 30.
Okay. And that's like the first real walk, not just taking her out to go to the bathroom.
Right. Just taking her out to go to the bathroom. That's usually like it.
Right. Okay. So after you get back from that walk, Tali, and then her system regulates, meaning she's not breathing hard or heavily or anything like that, that's when you feed her breakfast. That's it. So she's got to go through the whole process of the morning. Dogs have to be active. They should be active in the morning before they get fed. Now, it's hard to sustain sometimes. I'm not saying we have to do it 380 days out of the year. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying the majority of the time, it's more ideal to do that.
Yeah.
It's more natural for an animal to go find food than it is for them to wake up, eat, and then go walk to work on their waistline.
Right.
Right. I don't know an animal that does that.
Yeah. She definitely prefers to walk before she eats, like even in the evening and like in the morning. So
yeah.
Because like I said, when I tried doing the other way around, she just wouldn't touch her food. She was like, no, like this is not going to work.
Yeah. So, no, I want, especially because you're already active doing all that stuff, Tali. You don't have to adjust your schedule. You're just changing when you're feeding her. That is all.
Okay.
In my opinion, you see a dog become more restful with that formula than you do the other way around. That's all. It's more fulfilling to them. I think it's more natural and fulfills their instincts and their DNA more. Make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. What's your question?
So, like Tiffiany, I've not been as good about working on the leash training this week.
Okay.
I've done it a couple times, but here's the problem. Well, I'm sure I'm the problem because I'm usually the problem. So I have that slip leash.
Yeah.
The first time we worked on it, as soon as I put that leash on her, she just stopped. She just sat there. I couldn't get her to walk around the apartment, or I would eventually get her to walk around, but then I couldn't get her to sit. But I just kept trying back and forth, and then it just seemed like it wasn't working for me or for her. Like I couldn't get her to move, and then if I got her to move, I couldn't get her to sit, and she was she seemed not to understand the process.
Yep.
But I tried, and I was like, okay. Then the next time when I went to work with the leash, she ran and hid under the bed, that particular leash. Because it's not the leash I use outside. Obviously, I have a harness and
different setup.
And so far, that's as far as we got with the slip leash. So I don't know what's different. I mean, I know that they look different. They probably feel different to her, but I can't.
I think they feel a lot different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember when I first got her, I could not get her in a harness, which I was very concerned about because the way she pulls, like she was getting choked by just a leash. She's so small. I mean,
from the regular collar.
Yeah. So, but once I got her used to the harness, I think she just the idea of the slip leash, perhaps she does not like that anymore.
Well, I think there was a lot of confusion that was probably created with it because you were brand new to it. She's brand new to it. Right. So I would start. So we kind of have to recover from that now. And I would start with food probably. So I would get her hooked up to your other leash first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I would take that and just anchor that to something, piece of furniture.
Okay.
And then get out your slip leash. And I would start to use food. So I would just kind of hold the slip leash and see if she'll take food from you. If she does, then you can continue with this. If she doesn't, then we're going to have to approach it differently. But I want you to try with food first. I'm not going to give you both options in detail because I don't want to flood your brain with too much information.
Okay.
But if she does take the food and near you, I'm going to hold up the loop like this with the food, and I'm going to put it through so that she takes it from my hand this way.
Okay.
Right. And we have to do this a number of times until we can hold it here and she can move her head through the loop, and then I can slide it down over.
Okay.
So we have to recreate a positive association with this.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like as soon as I like went for it, she was like, I'm out. And she went under the bed, her hiding spot. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. We don't want her to stay in that frame of mind. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay. I think I just added this to the emails, but I don't know. So did I send you the video or show you the video of the dog that was refusing to walk on leash?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay. So
I'm going to post it. We talked about it, but I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah. So I'm going to, there it is right there. I'm just going to add it into the group right now, into the Slack group on the main page so that everybody's, I think I posted it, but it's probably been a couple months.
Okay.
I just added it to the leash handling part of the course so people got it. So there. Okay. So it's in there so you can take a peek at it after the call or whenever. So you get an idea. So at least when she does get the leash on, then you know exactly how to handle that moment, to help her through that. Yeah. And look, if you start walking around with her in the apartment and she's got that on, I'd take a few steps, reach down, give her a piece of food, but just don't add excitement to it.
Okay.
Just want to recreate an association with the leash. That's all.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Round 2. Back to you, Christy.
I don't really have too much. I just have a question about what Tali was asking about walking in the morning, because I'm so guilty of not doing that with River. Like, is it really bad? Because it's not that, I guess it is that I don't want to, because I'm just such not a morning person. Like, I am not a morning, and it's not even like I need a cup of coffee in me. I'm just not.
Well, let me put it to you this way. So when I did this out of my house for 6 years, dogs weren't getting breakfast till 10:30 in the morning. So it doesn't have to be bright and early if that relieves a little responsibility or a little burden off of you.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean, and there's all sorts of studies that are saying that if dogs can eat their 2 meals within 8 hours, it's better for them.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, because I mean, and River he never like tries to wake me up or demands his food. He'll wait. Sometimes he's fed at like 8 and sometimes he's fed at 9. I mean, he never begs for his food or anything like that.
Yeah.
Tries to wake me up for it or anything. But I know I've heard that a lot, and I've talked about to my husband, like, even if he could give, a little walk before he goes to work or something. But I am totally guilty of that. I didn't know how bad it is.
So, but here's the things. I wouldn't call it bad. To me, it's the perfect world scenario, and then let's work our way back from there. So going outside and having a little play session. I just want some sort of activity first. That's all. Okay. Yeah, and if you can honestly do that more days than not in the week, I'm good with that. And again, this also goes back to your dog's activity level. If you have a couch potato dog, it's not going to be the end of the world. Yeah. If you have a high drive dog, you probably should be doing something. Otherwise, that energy is going to get it taken out of the molding or the chair or the couch or.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I've noticed with River. I mean, he has energy, and like if we go to the beach, he can run around like crazy. I mean, it's insane how much he'll run. But it's not like I've noticed a I think I was talking about over the weekend, it's not like he's ripping apart. It's not, I think he's getting enough like exercise. You know what I mean? He's not doing anything to show that he's not, or
right.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I think he's getting enough, but yeah, I know what you're saying. So I'll try. And that's harder too because of the winter.
I know this is the hardest time, but so look at also like the scent game thing that I was just talking with Colleen about.
Yeah.
That can be an activity in the morning. He still has to work for food. So even as us in the north, we, the light's going to go away, the cold's coming, our days are decreased a lot. There's still things that we can do. So it's, as long as there's something, then great. That's all. So all I would say, Christy, is this: in the next week, if you can do something 3 or 4 mornings out of the week.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And set it in place before you do it. So like later today, you're going to be like, okay, it's going to be Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
Right? Like set something in place. So you're like, I'm going to work towards it and do it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Do it. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and I don't think I said anything about the podcast, but I think I don't know if anyone's responded. I just haven't been in the app or whatever. So, but I think that's cool. And I think that's awesome. And
I think it's going to help out a lot of people too. And there's so much value in this. Like this is the one thing that's been super consistent from everybody's feedback, student wise, is how much they love this classroom type setting. So yeah, if you see any of my social media or anything referred to as the coaching lab, this is what I've called. This is the coaching lab because it's
cool.
I don't know. I enjoy this. I look forward to these calls. I think they're fun.
Yeah, no, I do too. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. And thank you for that. Sure. All right, Colleen, you're up.
Okay. In the lab. In the lab. All right. My question is about recall.
Yeah.
So I guess I just want some advice on how to navigate this. So when we let Danny out to go to the bathroom, our yard is pretty big. And she, when it's time to go inside, and especially when it's starting to get colder, that time is going to decrease, right? That we're out there. She goes into like full on avoidance mode. She'll just you'll call her name and then she'll just kind of, I don't know, she'll start playing with something that's in the yard. It's almost like she's actively ignoring me. Turn around, avoiding. Like snooting around to something. And so I just want to try and work on that so she knows yo, when I say your name, it's time to come in.
Yeah. So look at it this way. What in that moment when she's out there, what does she like to do the most?
Sniff around. Sometimes she'll sit at the top of the hill and
take in her surroundings. Yeah. So if you think about it this way of using her environment as her reward, right? Because some food we think of reward as food, toys, and affection are always the big three. But we never really talk about how much the environment is the reward. So what I would practice with her, even as you go stand in the yard, is call her over to you. And you can bring food out if you want to. You can reward her with food and then send her back out to go sniff around again. Because if you start using recall as the only time that you're using it is when you have to go inside and everything to her ends, all the fun and the joy of sniffing around, well, then I'm not going to go back in with you because I'm not done out here. So I would rather you practice these going out with her, hanging out, call her over to you. And this is the other thing too, is that when you call her over to you, if she's food motivated or affection, whatever that is in that moment, if you give her a little food, that's reward number 2. And then you send her back out to go sniff around, that's reward number 2. So you're giving her 2 rewards in this one interaction. Do you see?
I think I'll have to use food because, I'll go down into the yard and call her and she's just like, whatever, I'm not listening to you, Mom. So I will, I'll have to use a treat.
You could also use a long line too.
Yeah, I've thought about that, using that. I just don't know what the best strategy is. Because if I use food, let's just say I go out with multiple treats in my pocket to try and work on this exercise.
Yep.
She'll know I'll have more than one treat, and then she'll just sit right in front of me waiting for another treat.
Yeah. So if I find a dog is a little more Velcro-ish in that time, then I'll ignore the dog completely and I'll just walk around casually. I may even pull out my phone and act like I don't even see a dog near me.
Okay.
Okay. Because too often when we do it, when a dog sits down, they know we have food, we're looking right back at him.
Yeah.
And then we start talking to him and the dog's like, yeah, just give me the food. I'm good. That's all I want. You know? So, but if you also put her on a long line, Colleen, she can be 20 feet away. And so in that moment, I'm going to call her and I'm going to just give a few little like micro bumps on the leash in my direction from 20 feet away as I call her. And then she turns towards me. I'm going to cheer her on. She gets to me. I give her food and then I send her back out again. And then I'll wait a few minutes and then do the process again. Grab the end of the leash, call her name, give a few little bumps on it in your direction, reward her with food, send her back out again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do, and Tanner does it too, is like if she doesn't respond, we'll walk towards her. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like if she's just totally avoiding us, I'll kind of just, continue to walk toward her until she acknowledges that I'm there.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's like that. Listening to some of the discussions we've had, I don't know if that's a mistake because she knows then if she doesn't answer that I'm going to go to her. She doesn't have to go to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But to me, it's more of what happens when you follow through. So you've called, there's no answer. I walk towards her. And so what I'm asking from her is some acknowledgement to you. Right. And so when you get over there and then she looks up at you, then I will call her to me again like it was the first time all over again. I don't change my energy.
Okay.
And if she goes back to doing what she's doing, I'd probably have a leash on her. Right. And I might grab the leash, give her a couple of tugs in my direction, and then we start walking. So I want her to know. But see, that instance, that has to get repeated to her a number of times for her to understand that every time you call her, if she doesn't move, you're going to get her. The mistake gets made when we call our dog to us. And then as we're walking towards the dog, we're calling them to us. So now recall means I'm coming to you. And so then that's when it gets backwards.
So just walk towards her silently. And then once you stop, you say, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We've been working on this for a really long time. It's
I think you're better off with a long leash out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's the better tool for you to use just to get her attention. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll try.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. Janet, back to you.
I don't have anything else and I'm going to need to jump off the call, but thanks for all the great questions. I always learn so much from what everybody else asks.
Good. And keep us updated on the paw too. Cool. All right. Tiffiany, back at you.
Thank you. Last week we talked about sitting with my mom because Bader again is very much attracted to her.
Yeah.
So I did that. I think I realized after I did it the first time that I didn't ever call her back. Like she decided to go off on her own. I'm like, how long do I sit here? Do I wait for her? I wasn't thinking to call her back.
In other words, so you got in between, you kind of addressed her and then she turned around and walked away.
Yep. So
did she ever look up at you like, okay, I don't think I'm supposed to do that? Or did she just turn her head and go?
No, I got eye contact and she walked away. And what happens now, I have started trying to have my mom call her back. I call her back and then I shoo her away. We go through this process. But if I'm not present, it's as if we did nothing.
Yeah, because it hasn't been increased to where you're further and further and further away and she still has to listen.
Thank you. Like,
you know what I mean?
I was expecting results from just that.
We all do. You mean you're not going to remember this for the rest of your life, forever and always? Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, when you address her and she looks up at you and she's like, okay. In that moment, I walk away, go sit down, go back to whatever it was I was doing.
Got it. Okay. Not
Okay.
sitting back down because that is not my place. I even got a chair just to sit next to mom.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So think of it in terms of pressure. Think of like, your body language is pointing towards her. Your eyes are pointing towards her, right? When you're addressing her.
Mm-hmm.
So think of that in terms of pressure. You're addressing an unwanted behavior. When that unwanted behavior stops and her state of mind goes down a notch, that's when I release that pressure and I walk away to go back to doing whatever it was I was doing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's my question.
Good. Yeah. All right, Tali, back to you.
So I think I missed part of the conversation. You guys were talking about like the energy of the dog.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is good or bad, but remember when I first got her, I couldn't get her to play. And then it turned out she was doing that zoomy thing, which I found out was not a bad thing.
No.
And it only used to be like in the evening, but now she definitely plays more, which is good, I think.
Yep.
And then, but I've noticed like in the last week or so, she also has had the zoomies more. And it's not just when I'm walking in the door. Is that okay? Is that like too much? Like, I can't tell. It's hard for me to tell sometimes because it's like the zoomies are kind of new to me. Like, but I told you, like her eyes get all crazy and she's like running around and she's like tearing all across the apartment. And like, I can't like, she's like sliding on the floor like that.
Yeah.
And then other times, then when she's not like that, she's sleeping for like a million hours. And I also noticed in the last few days, I think this is a good thing. She's been able to, I don't have to walk her as frequently. Like I can spread out the time a little bit during the day as much of walks. Obviously I take her out first thing and last thing, but those ones in between, at first, it seemed like I had to take her out more regularly. And I don't know if you remember, the foster mom who had her for 7 weeks had a pet door. So I think she was just used to being able to go in and out a lot more frequently. Right. So I feel like I've tamped that down enough.
For sure.
Like some days I am taking her out more frequently, but it seems like now she's not going out like as many times, but we're going for better walks.
Yeah. It's more efficient.
Yeah. So I just don't know is that okay with her energy? Like, I can't figure it out. Like if it's a good or bad thing with the zoomies. Yeah.
So I think it's important that we explain the context of this too, because so for you, it's been
7 weeks now.
I was thinking 7 for that was a good guess. So it's been 7 weeks that you've had her, right? So 63 days can take dogs up to 90 days to get settled. I think you're seeing signals from her that she's getting comfortable.
Okay.
To me, that's what the zoomies are more about. I would take it like a celebration for right now.
Okay.
Plus she's sleeping a little bit more soundly, so you're starting to see those adjustments for her. And I think that's great. If somebody's dealing with a 3-year-old dog that's getting zoomies all day, then I'm looking at it like, okay, we might have to increase some exercise, and some outlets a little bit.
Yeah, it's not all day. It's like when I first got her, it seemed like it was only happening like, I don't know, in the evening. But now sometimes it's not in the morning. It's like, I don't know, midday. She'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't figure it. Like, I don't know if I guess it's not a bad thing. It's like it seems like it's like playtime for her when she has the zoomies. Maybe.
I mean, if you're free, I would probably just grab a toy and see if you can engage her.
Mm-hmm. Well, usually she'll run around, do her crazy thing, and then she ends up with the lamb chop and then the dog and then back to the dog bed, like her little routine.
Yeah.
But that's only after she's exhausted most of the zoomy energy.
Right.
Like that's like at the tail end of it. She will go towards her toys after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's the end of the world for you right now. I think this is a good thing. See ya, Tiffany. So I think you just keep an eye on it. I think if this is something that starts to happen more and more and more, then I might be like, okay, we should probably do something about this,
Okay.
But I don't think you're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a nice change because when I first got her, she was like doing her own thing, wouldn't look
And
at
quiet.
the toys. And I think this is a great thing. She is humping way less, way less. Because when I first got her, it was like, I felt like every time I turned around, she was like humping that dog bed. And now it just seems way less. And she does this thing where I think it's like definitely her calming space, but she'll like suck on part of the dog bed and she's like kneading her little paws.
Yeah. Self-soothing. Yeah.
But definitely less humping. So progress.
Yeah. I think that was like a displacement behavior of some sort, being new, not sure what to do. There's a number of things that dogs can do, and that's one of them. Right. So, but good. So you've seen a good decrease with that too.
Yeah.
And I also think too, like you're 5 weeks into this, you're shifting, right? Like your energy and everything is shifted. So she's sensing that. I think we can't disregard that.
Yeah. And I think now that we're both sleeping through the night, that's like a huge, huge thing. Last night I had this moment. I heard her get off the bed, then back on the bed, then off the bed. And I was like, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm just going to pretend I can't hear her. And then she settled herself down. Like it took her longer than normal, but then she went right back to sleep. So I was
nice. Good. Yeah. That's great. Nice. All right. Good. Thanks. You're welcome. Anybody else?
I just have a super quick question.
Okay.
Because what you're talking about play, I've been wanting to ask you, is it a good thing or I guess you say, is it a bad thing if when we play with River, sometimes he likes us to chase him while he has the toy in his mouth. Yeah. And since talking with you and, training with you, I told my husband, I don't think it's a good thing that we do that because maybe it might give him the wrong idea. Like if he has something that we want,
Sure.
So I don't, I just wanted to ask that.
I certainly wouldn't get into running around a piece of furniture going after the dog. Mm-hmm. I might move towards the dog quickly, I'm very playful, or move away and engage in that way. I might walk towards them.
Chasing, let's say we throw it and then, or the other thing he likes us to do too is we'll throw it, his toy, and sometimes he'll go get it, but sometimes he likes us to run with him to go get it.
That I'm totally cool with.
Okay. So then if he gets it, sometimes, let's say if he gets the toy, he runs away and, let's say, a lot of times he'll drop it. Almost every time he drops it, but he does like us to chase him around with the toy in his mouth, like we're going to get it. We never have done that, I'm going to get it type of thing. We have done that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was probably a good idea.
I think for me, the only way I would do that is if my drop it command was spot on. Mm-hmm. And then I would actually see if the dog would do it while I was chasing the dog, work up to that point.
Okay.
And then when they did drop it, I'd probably kick it so they can get right back on and grab it immediately again, you know, just so the game doesn't end. It's just, hey, can you do this for me while we're up here? Then great. But to me, if I don't have the drop it in place, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's pretty good with it. Maybe I'll try that and see. I just didn't want to do it too much. So
yeah,
that was the only question.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. Colleen, anything?
I'm filled with questions, but I'm I'm good for right now. I have plenty to focus on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Tali, anything else?
No, I was just going to tell Chrissy, Maya likes for me to chase her, but she never carries stuff in her mouth. She just wants me to play with her. So I do what Ian's saying. I kind of take, because she's so small, I take a half a step and I'm already right next to her. But she just wants to play that game where we're just running together. And I think I feel like it's a good thing because she's getting out her energy and she's she seems to be having fun. Her tail's wagging and she's having fun.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, we'll call it good for today then. Good chat. Colleen, I didn't have to kick you off the call, so that was good.
I know Tali missed it. You missed the ground rules that Ian set at the beginning, that if you didn't answer the question correctly, or if you asked a bad question, you were getting kicked off the call with an F for the day.
No pressure whatsoever. Oh, good. All right, ladies. Well, have a good rest of the day, and maybe we'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, listen, baby. You can keep your pedigree family. This rescue dog is through with you.